Hey everyone, it's Sekaar, and today I want to do a little bit of a different tier list than we normally do. I want to do a top rankings of the best mythics to use in PvP and just rate where everything is. This is going to be for PvP only, so I know a lot of these things are good in PvE. That's not what we're looking at. We're looking at what is good in PvP. So, the way that we're going to work this is on my second monitor, I've got ESO Hub up, and so what we're going to do is I'll explain what each one does, as you can see when we get to it, and it'll just be that simple. That way, everybody knows which one's which because there's a lot of different symbols to here. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't even know what some of these are if I don't look it up. So without further ado, let's get on with the video. Actually, one quick thing: if you just want to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. That's all I ask you guys to do today. Okay, so let's get started with, let's go right here, which I think is from the bottom of the list. So here we go. All right, so this is the Velothi Your Mage's Amulet. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce it exactly. You get offensive penetration, increases your damage done to monsters by 15%. You gain minor force at all times, increases your critical damage done by 10%, and reduces your light and heavy attacks done by 99%. So this is the kind of mythic that is only good for PvE. It's a very good PvE mythic though, because I do use it on my Arcanist because this is against monsters, so this is only PvE. So for PvP, we put that in the F tier right there. So it's a good mythic for PvE, but PvP is not good. Our next one is going to be Torque of the Last Aelid King, which I know a lot of you guys like. It reduces your damage taken by 15%, so you become really tanky. You get 1,337 weapon and spell damage, and you get 500 magic and stam recovery, but it disables all other item set bonuses. I know that a lot of people are in love with this thing. I have never personally done it because the grind for those leads is horrendous. You have to do Infinite Archive, and I'm over it. I've tried to do it in the past. The drop rate on that is awful, and personally, I'm not about it. I'm really not about it. So I've never actually personally run this. So everything that I'm going to say about this and where I'm going to rank this is based off of what other people say. I know a lot of people that swear by this thing. They're like, yo, this thing makes Necro amazing. This thing makes Templar amazing. It even works on Warden, makes Warden amazing. That's nice. But is this better than running two 5-piece sets, a monster set, and a different mythic? I'm going to be honest, I don't think so. I really don't think so. In my personal opinion, guys, you may take this the wrong way, you may not. The way I look at it, I think this is a lazy person's mythic. I don't like it. I don't like the way it performs. So for me, being biased, I would rank it in C tier, but due to the fact that everybody likes it and they say that it makes Necro viable, I'm gonna put it in the B tier. I think that's fair. I think that's perfectly fair. You don't get to use any other sets with it, so that kind of sucks, but hey, look, it is what it is. The next thing is Torque of Tonal Consistency, which is while your stamina is less than 50%, increases your magic recovery by 450, while your magic is less than 50%, increases your stam recovery by 450. So it's really good for your overall recovery. I've tried it in the past, and it's not a terrible mythic, but I just think that it's not necessary in the current day and age. I feel like you just slap on just one recovery glyph, and that's fine. So for me, I've tried in the past. It was good in the past before mythics became like before they kept on dropping like a new mythic every single patch or something. So it's not that it's bad. It's just that other ones are better. So I think in the D tier is good. You can use it. It's not your best option, but I think that's you could use it if you want. The next thing is Thrashing the Stranglers. So that's going to be this one. So killing an enemy is going to grant you a stack of Slow's Call for 1 hour, up to a maximum of 50 stacks. Each stack is going to increase your weapon and spell damage by 23, reduces your maximum health by 120, and reduces your effectiveness of your damage shield by 1%. And Slow's Call is lost if you remove Thrashing Stranglers, go invisible, or crouch. So I've used this. I was on a real kick with this for a while. I loved using this on so many different builds. Like I was trying this on Magwarden, Arcanist. I even tried a Nightblade build with this. I think I did DK. I did so many different builds with this, and I really enjoyed it. It's annoying if you die with this. You're not allowed to go crouch, so you can't do a stealth Nightblade. It's very annoying. So I think that what this is a very niche set. for elite small scalers to use that aren't going to be dying every single time that they go into a fight. The people that can actually hold their own and people that can actually stay alive for extended periods of time, I think that this is the mythic for you. So I think it's very niche. And so when it does work and getting the effectiveness of it, I will put it in the SA tier category. I'll probably put in A tier just because you have to be, you lose a lot of health, but you are hitting so unbelievably hard. And the resetting every time you die, that's the only reason why I don't put it in S tier, is because it's just really annoying to keep on proccing those every time you die. So that's unfortunate. All right, the next thing is going to be the Saint and the Seducer, which is a brand new mythic this patch. For anybody that knows me, you guys already know where I'm putting it already. So, Saint the Seducer. While in combat, you gain 1 of 5 random major buffs, which changes every 10 seconds. Enemies within 12 meters of you are going to gain 1 of 5 random minor debuffs depending on which major buff you have. The available buffs are Major Berserk, Minor Maim, Major Resolve, and Minor Breach, Major Force and Minor Brittle, Major Evasion and Minor Vulnerability, and Major Courage and Minor Cowardice. S tier. Right away, S tier. I'll explain why. S tier. I've been using it on so many different builds, and to get these amount of major buffs and also debuffing your enemies in the same category, which is what's buffing you, is insane. Like, I've been loving this thing so much. It is unbelievable how hard this hits. It's disgusting. It makes it so that your damage just overflows, and when you can time it properly, and when you can really hit all of your abilities or hit your ultimate, when you have the right proc up, when you have like a major berserk, a major force, or a major courage up, dude, S tier, S tier, S tier. Guys, go grind that mythic. It is brand new. Go get that thing. All right, the next one is the Shadow Queen's Cowl. I don't even know what this is, to be honest. So that's not looking good for you. While crouched, you can see witnesses and guards through walls. Successfully pickpocketing a witness or guard applies distracted to them for 10 seconds, stunning them and decreasing their stealth detection radius by 30 meters for the duration. F tier, that's a PvE thing. That is a roleplay PvE thing. Nope. Nope, 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 nope. I'm not even gonna... Nope, that's roleplay. Alright, the next one is Sirubam's Ward. You cannot move while bracing. While bracing, you create a 12-meter zone of protection. Group members within the zone increase the amount of damage they can block by 30%, and their health recovered by 950. The health recovery cannot affect yourself. You have to stand still for you and your allies to get 30% mitigation, like damage block mitigation. It's not damage mitigation, it's block mitigation. And it's health recovery. Dude, health recovery has been gutted since before they even introduced Mythics. F tier. F tier. Like, that doesn't need to be here. That doesn't need to be around. That's not even good. Is that even good for PvE? It's not even good for PvE. Anyways, next one. Storm Weaver's Cavort. Never heard of this one either. Adds 300 magic recovery. Sprint, roll dodge. Oh, I know this one is. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I just didn't know the name of those. So it adds 300 magic recovery, sprint, roll dodge, bash, break free, sneak, and block. Now consume magic instead of stamina. You reduce your magic recovery to 0 while blocking, sneaking, or sprinting. You no longer reduce your stam recovery to 0 while blocking, sneaking, or sprinting. So basically, if you wear this, it just inverts your stam to magic. So I think that they were just trying to be funny and trying something new when they introduced this. I genuinely don't see the point of this. I put that into F tier right away. I think that if you're going to wear one mythic and if you wear that, it's a waste of time. I'm going to be completely honest. If I'm wrong with that, please let me know, but I don't see the point in that. Spalder of Ruin. Activating Crouch activates and deactivates a 12-meter aura of Pride. Up to 6 members in the aura gain 260 weapon and spell damage. Reduces your health, magic, and stam recovery by 70 for every target benefiting from your aura of Pride. So basically, you give your group members 260 weapon and spell damage. That's, I mean, you could just wear like Rallying Cry. You could wear any kind of buff set, Powerful Assault. If you're gonna wear one, if you're gonna wear one mythic, that's not worth it to put it there. F tier. Nope. F tier. The next one's Snow Treaders. While in combat, you are immune to snares and immobilizations that can be cleansed, but you cannot sprint. So basically, you can only be hard stunned. You can't be snared, which I think that's pretty cool, honestly. It's really good in ball groups, from what I remember. From what everybody's told me, it's really good in ball groups. I've run it on a few different occasions. A few years ago, I haven't run it recently. I think it's really good in niche situations, but I think that it's in the A tier because I think that's really meta in ball groups. So it is a form of PvP, and I think that's really good in a certain situation, but it's not for everybody. I might put that in B tier, honestly. I'm torn between A or B tier. It's really good for ball groups. I think it's like meta for ball groups, but um I'm actually kind of torn on this one. You know what? I'll keep it in A tier. I think it's worth it. Shapeshifter's Chain reduces the cost of your transformation ultimate and werewolf abilities by 15%, while transformed increases your max health state of magic by 1707. I hate werewolves. I hate werewolves. I hate them. I think that they're awful. I think that they don't add anything to the game, and I hate werewolves. That being said, for you werewolf gamers, I think it's kind of the go-to mythic to have. I think it's probably the best mythic you can get if you're a werewolf. From what I hear, do I run this? Hell no. Do I have this? Hell no. Um, I don't do werewolf stuff. Um, the biased part of me wants to put it into D tier because that's where werewolves belong. Honestly, the werewolves belong in F tier. Um, but I think if you're going to do werewolves, I think it's going to be. I think that that's kind of your go-to thing. I don't suggest doing that, but it is what it is. Sea Serpent's Coil. A lot of people want me to run this, but not my thing. While at full health, you gain 40% damage reduction. After taking damage while at full health in combat, you gain Serpent's Rebuke for 10 seconds, snaring yourself by 40% and gaining Major Berserk and Major Courage. Increases your damage done by 10% and your weapon spell damage by 430. This damage resistance does not apply while Sea Serpent's Rebuke is active. So, you're incredibly snared, even though you have these really good damage buffs. What this is good for is duels, because you can stack your Major Berserk and Major Courage. That's really good in duels. So, I think that there's a place for this in PvP. I don't think that this is good in open world, because in open world, speed is king. If you're going to be slow, you're going to get zerked down. It's that simple. You're going to be left behind. So I'm not a fan of Sea Serpents personally. That's why I don't ever run it, because I hate that snare. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. But I respect what it is, and I respect what it does. I'm going to put it in the A tier category because for what it does do, it does it to perfection. I think it's really good for duels, and I think it's really meta for duels. The next thing is Rorkin Steam Guards. I don't even know what this is. While bracing, you gain Steam Guarding for 0.5 seconds, reducing your damage taken by 90%. This effect activates only upon the start of bracing, and it can occur once every 10 seconds. Blocking the attack while Steam Guarding is active reduces the cost of its cooldown by 5 seconds, up to one application of the effect. So this looks like it's a tanking mythic. I think this is the new one. So for tanking, it looks good. Do I think tanking belongs in PvP? No, I do not. I don't like it. I don't see the point of it personally. I do not like tanks. So right away, I want to say F tier. But all biases aside, I think that it does have a place for tanking. I think that I'm going to put in the C tier category because I think that it does do stuff. I just don't know if it does it to the best of its abilities. All right, next one's going to be Ring of the Wild Hunt. Increases your movement speed by 15% while in combat. Increases your movement speed by 45% while outside of combat. You don't need it. I'm going to put in D tier because you can use it. I don't think you need it. Wild Hunt, you could just use any other mythic, get damage. You could just do Triple Swift and it'll be better. You don't need it. The next one's going to be Pearls of Elnofe. Okay, sorry. While you tend to use resources to cast a healing ability while in combat and your dominant resources is under 50%, you gain 3 ultimate. 3 ultimate? F tier. 3 ultimate after doing such a condition. You have to heal while having your dominant resource under 50%. You have to have a full moon active. You have to skip on no F tier. Ring of the Pale Order though. Restore 20% of the damage you deal as health. The value is decreased by 4% per ally you are grouped with. You cannot be healed by anyone but yourself, your pets, or your companions. So, is this the best mythic to use? If you're solo, maybe. Yes. I think if you're solo, you can, and if you're not relying on other people, and if you're not a Nightblade. I think if you're a Nightblade, it's not going to work because you want burst damage, and you're not going to really get many heals off of it. So if you have consistent pressure, something like a DK, something like a Warden, something like that, if you have this consistent pressure, I think it's really good. So depending on the class, I think that it's really S tier. I really do. I think it's really S tier. All right, so I don't know what happened, but my entire PC just crashed right after I got done with it. So I recreated it. I looked back at it. So we're just going to start from here. I know it's a little bit different looking. I kind of like this one better. I should have done this from the start. I didn't know this part existed, but I'm not going to re-record that because I like to have you hear my authentic reactions whenever I'm reading this at the exact same time that, this is going on. So we're not going to re-record. We're just going to go from here. So from here, we have Oakensoul. And Oakensoul, that is going to give you, it's basically going to give you 1 bar. While equipped, you're unable to swap between your primary and backup weapon sets and gain minor berserk, minor courage, major brutality, major sorcery, major prophecy, major savagery, minor force, minor protection, major resolve, minor mending, minor fortitude, minor intellect, minor endurance, minor heroism, minor slayer, minor aegis, and empower. The last one doesn't matter. I think Oakensoul is amazing for very niche situations. What I really like about Oakensoul that I've brought up with my community a lot is it's really good for gamers who have disabilities. So if you don't like I know a few members of my community, they say that they're missing fingers, they only have one hand, stuff like that. And honestly, Oakensoul is like really a good way for them to play because then they don't have to worry about switching bars, and it's a really good way to level the playing field. That being said, I think that there are also viable builds for Oakensoul. I think Nightblade does still work with Oakensoul. I think you can make a Mag Sword build for Oakensoul, kind of to an extent, but I think Oakensoul is actually halfway decent, and it's a lot better than people think it is. I'll put it in the A category. I think it's really good for what it does, and I think that people, I think that it really helps a lot of people. I like it. Okay, so Mora's Whisper. Mora's is going to be gained 1528 crit chance and 10% increased inspiration, alliance rank, alliance skill, and 15% monster kill experience based off of how many books of Shadowlore libraries you have collected. So you get a lot of crit chance with this build. This mythic. I've used it in the past, and I like it a lot. I've used it on Stamsork a lot. I love this thing on Stamsork. I've tried it on Nightblade. I think it's good. Do I think it's best in slot? Not by any means. I think it's incredibly niche. I think if I'm going to use a mythic nowadays, I wouldn't even touch Mora's, I don't think. So I'm going to put it in the C category. I think that's pretty fair. It's not that it's bad. I just think it's incredibly niche, and there are other things that are just better. All right. The next one's going to be Markin, and this one might upset a lot of you guys. So Markin, you're going to gain 100 weapon and spell damage and 1,157 armor for every set you are wearing 3 or more pieces of. So I think Markin's pretty bad nowadays. I think because you're going to gain 200 weapon spell damage and then like 2,257 armor. It's just not good. 200 weapon spell damage for a mythic is nothing. When you have things like Saint the Seducer, where you can get major courage, major berserk, all that stuff, where you can get all that stuff, major force from a mythic, and this is Markin, it doesn't even out damage Death Dealers. Death Dealers you get more damage from. So Markin, I just find to be a useless kind of mythic nowadays. I'm putting it in the C, maybe even D tier category. You know what? Let's make a statement. I'm putting it in D tier. I think Markin is just not good. I think Death Dealers is better. I think Satan the Seducer is better. I think other mythics are so much better than this. I probably wouldn't be caught running Markin again anytime soon. I just don't see the point in it. The next one's going to be Malakath. So it's going to increase your damage done by 16%, but it decreases your critical damage by 50%. D tier. It's not that it's bad. I think that's usable. I think D tier is like it's the usable but Y category. When F is just not usable in PvP at all. Malachi, you don't want to lose your crit damage. Crit damage is really high right now in this game, and there's just no need. There's no reason to get rid of it, especially when you have access to Major Brutality and or Savagery and Prophecy on most builds. You don't get rid of that. There's no point in that. The next thing is Left-Hander's Aegis Belt, which roll dodge no longer evades attacks and instead grants a damage shield that absorbs up to 21,000 damage over 1 second. This damage shield is unaffected by Battle Spirit, so it's a 21,000 flat shield. For rolling Nightblades, this thing hits. It not hits. It's so much damage mitigation. For certain stamps orcs I've seen run this, it's nice as well. Honestly, left-handers, I'm gonna put that in the S tier category. I think it's really good, and I think it's one of the best mythics in the game. If you're on a Nightblade and you're running left-handers, I just think yeah, that's a really good choice. It's a really good choice, yeah. The next thing is gonna be Gaze of Sithis, which is you gain 3,276 maximum health. You add 1,000 health recovery. You add 4,000 armor, so you're a lot tankier. Reduces your block mitigation to 0, though. So when you block, it doesn't mitigate any kind of damage. I think that it works in certain situations. I think that you could make a case for running it on Samsork. I think Samsork would still be able to do really nicely with this, with that extra little bit of health, that extra armor. I think it's good. Is it best? No. So automatically I'm taking it out of the S tier category. It's not in like D or F tier. I wouldn't say it's A tier either because of how niche it is. If I was going to be on a Stamsork, I wouldn't run this. I'd run other things above it. So for me, I'm between B and C tier. I think that if you can build around it, it's really nice. Lordy's gonna hate me for this one. I kind of want to put it in C tier, but I think I'm gonna put it in A tier because, or B tier. Sorry. I think that it does work pretty well. I think that it does work really nicely. It's just really niche for what it does. All right, the next one is Fawn's Lark Cladding. I don't even know what this is. You continuously spur for 1 second. You gain the ability to pass through enemies. Enemies you pass through become charmed for 4 seconds, removing their ability to attack or cast abilities as they move towards you. Charming an enemy this way restores 678 stamina magic to you and heals you for 678 health. Charming an enemy removes you from stealth. What's the point of this? Dude, with scribing now, you've got charmed as like a basic ability. And Arcanist has charmed basically built in. F tier. I don't see any point for something like that. And the resources that you get from it are incredibly minimal. There's no point in that. Nope. All right, the next thing is going to be the Harpooner's Waiting Kit, right? Yeah, Waiting Kilt, sorry. Dealing direct damage grants you a stack of Hunter's Focus for 20 seconds, up to 10 seconds max. 10 stacks max. You gain 1 stack of Hunter's Focus per second. Each stack of Hunter's Focus increases your critical chance by 110 and your critical damage by 1%. Taking direct damage removes 5 stacks of Hunter's Focus, up to 1 per second. Removing It sounds good as a PvE set, but as a PvP set, no. That's not a PvP set, that's a PvE set. Nope. All right, the next one is Esoteric Environment Greaves. While you're above 50% stamina, reduces your direct damage taken by 50% or less. You lose 968 stamina whenever you take direct damage, up to once every 0.3 seconds. I don't know anything about this. I don't know where to put this, to be honest, because I've never seen anything about this. If you take direct damage, you lose like almost 1,000 stamina. No, dude, you're taking direct damage all the time, and then you're just gonna be out of stamina. No, I don't see the point in that. Like, yeah, the damage mitigation looks good, but I don't see the point of it, to be honest. You're just gonna lose stamina all the time. I don't see the point. All right, the next one is Death Dealer's Fate. You guys already know where I'm putting this one. Gain a persistent stack of Escalating Fate every 2 seconds. You're in combat, up to 30 stacks max. Each stack of escalating fate is going to increase your maximum stam, health, and magic by 88. You'll lose a stack of escalating fate for every 4 seconds you are out of combat. So, S tier. To get those extra stats is amazing. That maximizing your max health is huge, and the extra magic and stam that you get is actually more damage because every 1,000 weapon spell or every 1,000 maximum stam or magic you have, based on whichever one's higher, is going to increase your weapon spell damage by 100 on paper, not on the actual weapon spell damage part though. But it does increase your overall damage. So having that much maximum health, magic, and stam is actually more damage than Markin. So that's why I put Markin down there and Death Dealers up here, because you get more resources and you get more damage. It's just better. It's just better in every way. All right, the next one is Dove Raw Sabatons. While sprinting, gain a stack of Draconic Scales every 0.5 seconds, granting you 660 armor up to 20 stacks of max. Upon stopping, you deal a certain amount of physical damage. It just says 0 here. Per stack, in an 8-meter shockwave, gain a damage shield equal to damage dealt, and retain Draconic Scales for 10 seconds, but cannot gain new stacks. At 20 stacks, this damage is also stun for 3 seconds. The damage scales off of your R. So basically, you just run in and be like, "Oh, I'm gonna do a little bit of damage," and then like run in and just like have everybody look at you, and then you're out of stam because you're sprinting forever. F tier. I don't see the point of that. You're just running into a group. You have a little bit of extra armor, and then you do a little bit of damage. Like, all right, cool. All right, go off though. All right, the next one's gonna be Belharz's Band. Increases your damage of your light attacks by 900. When you deal damage with consecutive melee light attacks, you're going to get a stack of Belharz's Temper for 10 seconds, up to 5 stacks max. At 5 stacks, consume Belharz's Temper, and after 1 second, deal a certain amount of physical damage. It doesn't say on here exactly. To enemies in a line and stun them for 3 seconds. This effect can occur once every 10 seconds and skills off your higher weapon or spell damage. Just for honestly, I'm ignoring the second part. All I'm basing this off of is increases the damage of your light attacks by 900. So I think that this makes bow builds really good. I think that this is one of the best mythics to use for bow builds, and even for Sorks in general, because of that extra damage to light attacks. So I think that that would actually, I might be wrong, but that might also stack with your overload, because those are technically light attacks. So I would put it in the B tier. Is it best? No. Would it work? Yeah, really well. On Bowsork, it's really dope. Is it my favorite thing to run nowadays? No. But if somebody was running it, I'd be like, okay, yeah, cool. I see why. All right, we're almost done. Crypt Cannon Vestments. You can no longer cast ultimate abilities. Instead, casting an ultimate ability is going to transfer your ultimate resources to your living group members, divided equally among them. You gain minor heroism while you're in combat. So basically, you just give your ult to your team members, which it's mostly a support kind of mythic. It's not for damage at all, because you don't get to use an ult anymore. Um, is it the kind of thing that I would run? No. Is it the kind of thing that I see the utility for? 100% yes. If you're in a small scale environment, you're a healer, and you want your allies to be able to do damage at all times and just maximize your damage. I think that this, I'll put in the S or A tier category. Honestly, I'll put it in S tier. I think it's a really good mythic. All of these are for damage, really. I think this is the first one that's actually good for support. I think it's really good. And then the last one is Bloodlord's Embrace. I think this is like a roleplay vampire thing. I don't know. Dealing damage with a bash attack places a persistent, uncleansable blood curse on an enemy. You can only have one blood curse enemy at a time. Dealing additional bash damage moves the blood curse. When you block a blood cursed enemy, restores 1600 magic to you. So it's like it's a bash build thing. Bash builds deserve no, they don't deserve any kind of love. I mean, I see the point of it though, but do you need that? Is it good? I've never run this one. I don't know. I still have like 3 brain cells left at the very least, so I don't want to. I don't run bash build. I don't know. You know what, guys? You know what, guys? Just because it's for bash builds, we put in the F tier. We don't respect bash builds around here. We just don't. We just don't. But all right. That's the entire list. I think it looks good. I think it looks really clean. I'm honestly really happy with how that came out. I mean I put it together, I know, but I really wouldn't change anything about it. Maybe a few things here or there, like maybe tiny adjustments, but overall, I think it's cool. What do you guys think? If you guys would change anything on this, let me know. I'm always curious to hear what you guys would think. Uh, let me know what you guys are thinking in the comments. I appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please do that as well. I always appreciate that. Hit that like button. You guys know how it is. All right, then, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. I did appreciate you guys staying until the end, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Later.